Hello and welcome back to my craft room. Exciting day today. My ScrawlrBox has arrived. So this is the May 2021 box. You never have any idea what's in these boxes from month to month. They don't give out any spoilers or anything, so it's always a complete surprise, which I love. And one of the great things about having these kind of kit boxes is that it does make you try things you perhaps wouldn't have thought of doing otherwise, and they give you lots of ideas for how to use them. So let's get in here, because you don't want to hear me waffling on. You want to see what's in the box. So ScrawlrBoxes are a monthly thing. There's no commitment with it. Stop and start whenever you want, and it's only £15 a month including the postage to the UK, which I think is a bargain. Okay, stop waffling, get into the box. I love this. It's like a little birthday every month, and you get a present you really want. Okay, so sometimes in here it'll be pens, it'll be pencils, it could be paints, it could be anything. A small package this time. Now, so you always get, one thing you always get is the sweetie, and I can't, maybe the sweetie's inside. Oh, isn't that beautiful? There's always an inspiration piece from an artist who's used the supplies in the box. Art by Safana. Hi, my name is Safana and I draw objects and nature realistically with coloured pencils. Oh, bit of a clue as to what might be in there. I do love working with coloured pencils. I spent my entire childhood trying a million different things, everything from Zentangle patterns to henna and acrylic paint. That sounds like my kind of person. I've always been pretty terrible at drawing, and to be honest I still am, but what I am good at is making a drawing resemble a photo. You're not terrible at drawing if you can do that, are you? What a strange thing to say. Enjoy the supplies and inspiration included in this box. I look forward to seeing what you create. Well, that doesn't look like a piece by someone who's terrible at drawing to me, does it? Oh, people are funny sometimes. Okay, so then you always get the ScrawlrZine, so you get a little magazine which tells you all about the contents. Don't want to look too much at that because I want a surprise when I go in. And then there's a kind of an interview with the artist. Look at this person who's terrible at drawing. Lots of tips and things to try. Try not to look too much at those. And then there's always a gallery of pieces that have been done by other Scrawler subscribers from the kit 2 months ago. So this would have been the March. Lovely. It's always hugely inspiring to see what other people do, and so many different things with the same supplies. Anyway, have a good read of that later. So we've got, there's always some kind of paper or substrate in here. Lots of different kinds. This is just straightforward cartridge paper, 120 GSM, so that's not very heavyweight, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Quite nice texture, probably ideal for coloured pencils, which I suspect is what I'm going to find inside. Lovely, 16 sheets. A5 size cartridge paper. Let's move this over here. So the really exciting part is this. Oh, there's my sweetie. See, there's always a sweetie. Oh, it's licorice. Oh, no, I'll put that in the sweetie tin. And there's always a sticker. So I've collected the stickers. I've covered 2 books already with the stickers, and I need to find another one. That's a particularly pretty one. That lovely piece of work by Safana. Now, this is what we've got in the box. You always get a little strip thing here which tells you the details of the supplies inside the box and gives you a challenge and some inspiration. What's this? Liquid white coloured pencil. Pearl burnish. Liquid white coloured pencil archival. Wow, I've never come across that before. Shake well, it says. Well, hopefully there'll be, amongst all of this, there'll be some instruction as to what to do with that. A Derwent line marker, super fine, free flowing permanent liners. This is a 0.5 black well, they're always useful. A black liner, you know, you can never have too many of them. I say that. Oh, there's a paintbrush. That must be for applying this, I guess. It's quite a nice, fine paintbrush. So this is the exciting one, because I didn't know Posca made pencils. I'm a huge fan of Posca paint pens. Small collection there. So if they've done pencils as well as they do their paint pens, I'm going to love these. But I didn't know that there was such a thing. And this is an exclusive colour selection for ScrawlrBox. Strange packaging, but actually very environmentally friendly. So, wow. So, Posca pencils. So we've got a nice selection of colours actually, not the obvious kind of primary colours and black and white or whatever. 0.33 blue. Oh yeah, so 33 blue, 11 fuchsia, 39 blue green, 37 grey, 54 light orange, 34 lilac. How intriguing. Okay, so the Scrawler Challenge is Secret Garden. Each box provides you with a selection of art supplies and inspiration, but we also want to spark your creativity. Every month we'll give you a challenge word or phrase to be interpreted however you wish. Try and create something using only the supplies in this box. Secret Garden. I'll have to have a bit of a think about that. I've never actually got around to joining in with the community with ScrawlrBox and posting on the Facebook page and what have you, but maybe I should. So these are the two things that are completely new to me. Pearl Burnish Liquid White. So that's this stuff. This liquid white. My only criticism here is this writing is so small. I almost need to get my magnifying glass out. And they put a recommended retail price for each item, which I always like to look at to make sure I'm getting my money's worth. And usually I find I'm getting more than my money's worth. So this recommended retail price is £3.60. Wow, so it's quite expensive for such a tiny amount, isn't it? Right. This liquid white pencil is made by none other than our featured artist herself, Safana. Oh right, okay. It's perfect for adding highlighting and layering effects to your work. Unlike paint, coloured pencils cannot always be easily layered over and over, with lighter colours often not holding enough pigment when used as a top layer. Absolutely, yes, I've found that it's frustrating. With this liquid pencil you can intensify or create white areas without having to sacrifice any pigmentation. And what's more, once this white pencil is dry, you can even layer more colour pencil on top. Ah, right, I get it. I can see how this has been invented by someone who uses coloured pencils a lot, because that opens up a whole new world of possibilities. Ooh, can't wait to have a little go with this. Okay, and Uni Posca coloured pencils. That's right, Posca is a brand that we're all familiar with, and after several years of research, coloured pencils have now been added to their collection. These pencil colours are made from a unique combination of wax and oil to receive a strong but soft lead that can be used to produce a highly concentrated, smooth, bright colour with a matte finish, and are suitable for use on a range of surfaces. Posca coloured pencils offer a richly pigmented colour palette, great for sketching, layering and smooth gradient effects. True to the Posca spirit, they can be used on different surfaces such as paper, card, wood, metal, leather, glass, plastic, canvas and organic materials such as stone. Wow! Posca colouring pencils can also be used to complement works in watercolour, acrylic or Posca marker to produce mixed media artworks. And then there's this kind of inspiration as well. So May. This month we celebrate all forms of flourishing flora using colour pencils. Don't be afraid to blend colours to bring your floral creations to life. Test out the liquid white pencil to see how the pencils layer and work with this exciting medium. Have fun, keep scrawling and enjoy the supplies. Right, so I think I need to have a little try out of these colours. So I'll use the cartridge paper they've given us. Let's just first of all have a look at this. Oh, that is nice. Yep, that feels lovely, flows nicely, and this paper is just the right amount of smooth with a very slight texture. I think the pencils are going to like it. Try these colours. So I'm going to go lightly first. Oh, look at that. Yep, they do feel quite waxy. So I'm also interested to see, I think this would be a good test. So if it will go on glass and stone and wood and things. I've just got to try a little bit. I've got a tiny bit of wood veneer here. Let's just see if this is really true. Look at that. So that's on wood veneer. Now if I get, I'm just curious now. If I did the same thing, I find a similar colour. Oh, similar enough. I'm going to try one of my Prismacolor pencils and see if that also works so well over wood, because I'd never thought of trying. It does. I never thought of doing that. And they said also glass, didn't they? Now, what am I going to... This is a really, really glossy surface. I'll try it with the Posca as well. Yeah, the Posca doesn't go quite so well over that. I think it's a little bit more waxy or something. No, I want to try them one against the other now, which is not what I'm supposed to be doing here. But so this is one of my. This is a Prismacolor, right? Now that isn't showing, really isn't taking at all on that glossy surface. Really isn't. So if this does, then I'm going to be impressed. And it does, not because it's light. Not as well, but here is where I'm thinking now, I wonder if this stuff will also work on a glossy surface. Okay, let's stop getting distracted and carry on swatching. I guess what I'm just getting distracted again. What Safana's done here is some of that layering. So this is kind of the palette she's used, isn't it? Those are the colours she's used for this, and she's probably layered with the, what's it called again? Liquid white coloured pencil. That does what it says it does. It's £3.60 would be money well spent. I'll be interested to see how far it goes. Probably a long way. Okay, let's swatch the rest of these colours. What happens if I layer one over another? See how well they layer. So coloured pencils, you're better off doing lots of light layers rather than a couple of heavy ones. This is probably a good opportunity to try. Now I've got all that darkness there. See now, if I tried to go over, say this, let's do a biggish area of the darker colour. Just check what it says in here. Dries to look like pencil for an authentic finish. Okay, things to try. The liquid white pencil is fantastic to create those intense pops of highlights or to block out areas as negative space. It can be layered over your pencil work, so try using it as a final touch to your artwork. If there are any lumps or imperfections in the application of the white liquid pencil, carefully smooth out with a small brush while it's still wet. Once it's dry, you won't be able to rework it. Oh, that's worth knowing. Best used in smaller sections. Use it on, for best results, use on top of wax based coloured pencils. Once dry, you can layer pencils over the top. It can take up to an hour to dry completely. Okay, the best way is to try this, I think. So if I wanted now to put a light colour over the top here, I mean, all that would happen is it would kind of burnish it a bit, and sometimes I do use lighter colours to do that. So now that's left just a bit of a lighter mark there. So I'll be interested to see now. Excuse me. Let's put a tiny dot of this. Oops, I meant for it to be tinier than that. Don't want to waste this if it's £3.60. Right. So if I was to, it's not a very fine brush this, but let's just see how it goes over. I've just dipped the corner in that, haven't I? Let's have a bit here as well. That's not completely opaque, is it? So what I'm thinking is, are you supposed to layer it, I wonder? I was sort of expecting it to be a really bright white over the top, which it isn't. But I guess I can let that dry and put another coat over the top, or use one of the other colours. Maybe I didn't shake it well enough as well. Give it a really good shake. Try this one up here. Must be of using typewriter correction fluid, which used to come in a little bottle with a brush. So I don't know if you can see there. So what Safana was saying was, if there's any little lumps or imperfections, smooth them out with a brush before it dries, because you won't be able to rework it once it's dry. And I feel like that's now sunk in to the point where it's gone quite blue again. Once it's dry, I can probably go over the top with a lighter colour. Yeah, see, a second layer is coming up much whiter. So I think I'm going to leave them to dry and then come back when they're completely dry and see how well they layer over the top. So I will give that, she said it can take up to an hour, so I'm going to give that plenty of time, and then I'll come back and show you in a minute. Well, I gave it a good half hour and then got impatient and realised it was still really soft and wet. I'm amazed at how long such a tiny amount of something can take to dry. Because if that was like acrylic paint or gouache, it would have been dry in that time. So yeah, I'm intrigued to know what it's made of. There's no clue on there as to what's actually in there. Anyway, I think it's dry now. So I'm going to try going over the top with the lighter colour again, just to see. So here I used this colour on top of the dark blue, and I just got that very faint, muddy sort of result there. I'll be interested to see how this goes over the dark now. think it's still soft. I don't think I've given it long enough now. I've just chipped a bit off, but you can see that if I did give it longer, it definitely would. It wouldn't be quite like having the blank paper, but I think I've given it a really fair go. Let's try this one. I'll try a different, completely so if I use this colour, this bright blue over the top of that, I would just, it would mix. It does go over the top actually, it does. But let's see what happens if I do it over the top of this. Yeah. So you can see the difference. So definitely worth. I'm going to enjoy experimenting with this. Whoops, with this liquid white coloured pencil. But it's worth bearing in mind that it does take a really long time to completely dry, to be able to work over the top of it. I think if we were using it to, as I'm guessing Safana has here, if you're just using it to just add a little highlight to an edge like that, you wouldn't have to wait for it to dry to sort of, and that you would move on to another bit, wouldn't you, and work on something else. If you then wanted to go back over it though to blend in with other colours, you'd have to give it plenty of time. So it's going to take me a little bit of time to get used to working with it, but I do think it's going to be a really interesting new medium to work with. I've never tried anything like it before. I mean, the difference there between layering this bright colour over the top of the kind of magenta pink there, just straight over the top of the magenta pink, or over the top of a layer of the liquid white pencil, obviously there's a massive difference. I'm also thinking, I wonder if you could create a kind of faux resist with it. Yeah, there's all kinds of uses for this. I had a little bit of a scribble while I was waiting for that to dry, trying to think of ideas for the secret garden, and I'm finding it really difficult to come up with anything that works for a secret garden with no green. And I couldn't even mix any of these colours to make, to kind of make much of a green really. I will finish up on the much more encouraging picture of what you can do with the materials in this month's ScrawlrBox. So this is the May 2021, and these are all the goodies. Oh, and of course the sticker and the sweetie, which I didn't like. What I'm really impressed with is these new Posca pencils. I did look at the retail price on the little card, and they are quite expensive. They're sort of comparable to Prismacolors or those kind of things. What's the other one? Polychromos. They're the other one. Someone told me that they're not doing Prismacolors anymore, but I haven't had any problem getting them yet. Could be that I'm buying, you know, there are still old supplies around, but so yeah, I think they're very comparable with those. I think they did go over the shiny surface much better. I'll be interested to see what range of colours there are. Price wise, they seem to be, I think they're probably going to be about the same, but I might have a look and see if there are any kind of opening offers or anything. Certainly they seem to be quite nice to work with. Oh, and of course cartridge pad. So as always, I think a very good £15 worth. I'm really happy with it. I always am. They're great value. They always get me trying something I wouldn't have tried otherwise. Get your sort of creative juices going a bit. And yeah, so I hope you found that useful. If I manage to come up with something for the Secret Garden Challenge, I'll post a couple of photos on the end of this. If there's nothing there, it's ended up in the bin. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. I'll see you again soon. Bye. So while I was waiting for my liquid white pencil to dry, I started sketching out an idea for the Secret Garden Challenge. So I'm finding it difficult to come up with anything that pops into my head that would be Secret Garden would need colours that aren't there, and you're supposed to try and use just the supplies in the box. So I've got this idea, which would be kind of a black and white doodly around there, a big eye looking through a keyhole, into a secret garden, and the only way you know it's a secret garden is there's a suggestion of it in the reflection in the eye. Right, it's the next day, I've come back, I've got a little bit more time. I'm going to just see what I can do with this sketch that I made yesterday. See if I can make something of it that will fit with the May challenge, Secret Garden. I am limited by the fact that I'm supposed to use only the supplies in the box, so I've got no green and nothing here that I can make green with. So we'll see where I go with this. And as a reference for my eye, I've got this sort of sketchy drawing I did in an old art journal, so I'm just going to use that as a rough reference. Well, I think that's as far as I'm going to go with that. Not my favourite, but it was quite fun playing with these new Posca pencils. I do like them. They're very waxy. I found that the pen didn't like going over them at all. Ended up going to a black pencil. I wasn't patient enough to wait for the white liquid pencil to dry enough to properly experiment with that, but it has given a nice opaque, relatively opaque. It's not a very bright white, but you don't always want all of the highlights to be bright. So this is where I've left the paper bare. This is where I've cut it ended up picking up the pen, which I'd use this one because I know I'm supposed to use only the supplies in the box, but if I'd have filled all of that area in with this, it would have felt like a bit of a waste, so I thought I'd cheat to use this. But this is water based, so the liquid pencil of course picked that up, but I quite liked how it then ended up with this kind of grey colour, which looks like quite a realistic reflection. So yeah, quite fun to play with. I will do a bit more experimenting with this. I tried using it as well to just add a bit of a highlight along here, but to be honest, I'd probably normally just get some gouache or something to do that with. The advantage is that you can put pencil over the top of this, but of course only if you're patient enough to wait. I'm not sure I'd pay £3.60 for it at the moment, but you know, I'm open to persuasion, so as I say, we'll go and see if there are any tutorials. So yeah, I've enjoyed this box. It's been a fun box so far, and I will do a lot more with it. Definitely very happy with those Posca pencils. I'm going to go online and just see what the range of colours is. This was a special colour selection put together exclusively for ScrawlrBox. So I think to find it really useful, I'd want some yellow and green and a black and a white. But yeah, overall I'm really happy with that. Not so happy with what I've done for the challenge, but it was it was quite fun. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. I hope you found that useful or interesting or just good for a laugh. I will see you again very soon. Bye.